Let's pass your exam questions. Explain today. National and Texas state questions explained. So let's get with it. So we're continuing with exam number 3 on the Texas real estate sales exam. All right. However, the first half of this class is dealing with national questions explained and also the answers. All right. So get ready for a night of reviewing your questions so that you can pass. Let's get you passing. All right. So this book includes national questions that applies to everyone in all 50 states and also Texas state questions. It has 4 exams, okay, that include 80 national questions and 30 state questions, okay? And it includes the answers explained at the end of each of the exams. So a little refresher course, math review, glossary, which is vocabulary, definitions, keywords, and how to prepare for the exam. So let's start with national questions. So when you get started, to participate, remember to include the question number and the answer, the letter answer in the chat. All right. And make sure that you give StreamYard permission to post your name. Okay. You see how StreamYard shows StreamYard? So give StreamYard.com/Facebook permission to post your name on StreamYard, because that is what I'm using to stream onto three different media, okay, to YouTube. So you may be watching on YouTube, Facebook Live, and my business page, okay? All right, so here we go. Exam number 3, question number 1. Ownership of a property by only one person is known as A, entirety, B, remainder interest, C, reversionary interest, or D, severalty. So when one individual or one entity owns a property, what type of ownership is that? Type your answer in the chat. The answer is B, severalty. So severalty can mean one individual or it can mean an entity. Oops. Very good, Lisbeth. No, ownership of a property by one person is severalty, okay? Not entirety. Entirety would be for a married couple. Tenants by the entirety. Number 2, Jane Doe and Richard Roe, who are not married, want to buy a house together. In order to ensure that if one dies, the other automatically becomes full owner, their deed must state that they are what kind of ownership? A, joint tenants with rights of survivorship, B, tenants in common, C, tenants in severalty, or D, tenants by the entirety. So they are not married and they want to buy a house together. In order to ensure that when one of them dies, the other one automatically becomes full owner. What type of ownership is that? Okay, remember, not married. The answer here is 2A, joint tenants with rights of survivorship. So it has to meet 4 conditions. T-tip, time, title, interest, possession. So they bought it at the same time. They took title the same way. They have equal interest, 50-50. One dies, they have survivorship, so the other one becomes full owner, and they have full possession. All right, number 3. Mary White and Elizabeth Brown, widowed sisters. Okay, they're sisters, they're widowed, they were married, spouse died, are buying a home together. To ensure that if one dies, her share will go to her children, they should purchase the property in what way? As A, tenants in severalty, B, tenants by the entirety, C, tenants in common, or D, joint tenants with right of survivorship. So they're buying it together. However, when one of them dies, their share is going to go to their children. So what type of ownership is that? Remember, anybody who just came in, we are doing national questions. So type your answer in the chat, the question number and the letter answer. The answer is C. Okay, remember, joint tenants mean they buy it at the same time, they took title, interest, and possession. However, when one dies, their share goes to the other partner. In this case, when one of them dies, her share will go to the children. So that is tenants in common. So tenants in common is when 2 or more individuals buy it. They're not married, and they could have bought it, taken ownership at different times, but they want it as tenants in common. There's no right of survivorship, meaning it doesn't go to the other person when they die. It goes to their heirs, to their children. All right, number 4. Appraisers in Texas must be certified by the whom? A, Texas Real Estate Commission. B, Texas Appraisal Licensing Certification Board. C, General Land Office of Texas. Or D, Texas Real Estate Commission and the Appraiser Licensing Board. Choose your answer, A, B, C, or D. Remember, who does Texas Real Estate Commission not license? Okay. Many people get this wrong. So get it right today. So far I have answer 4B. And yes, the answer is 4B, the Texas Appraiser Licensing and Certification Board. Interesting. We're dealing with national questions, so it shouldn't pertain just to Texas. So the Appraiser Licensing Board is the one that certifies appraisers, not TREC. All right, number 5. All of the following are approaches that an appraiser may use to establish value, except A, market approach, B, cost approach, C, income approach, or D, tax assessment approach. So there are 3 types of approaches that an appraiser will use to determine the value of a property. Which one of these is not? All right, so far I have 5D. And the answer is 5D. So come on, y'all, go ahead and participate. Yes, so 5D. And let's see, so I have a Facebook user whose name I cannot see. And who is that? So it might be Elizabeth. So anyone that just came on, remember to give StreamYard, go to StreamYard.com /Facebook so that we can, so that you can give them permission. Oh, wow, it's not letting me type. Hmm. Okay, so 5D is the answer. Number 6. In order to reach the lake, the Browns have a permanent right of way across their neighbor's lakefront property. So the Browns own what? So the Browns have a permanent right of way across the neighbor's property. So the Browns have what? An easement appurtenant, B, a license, C, a deed restriction, or D, a lien. Type your answer in the chat. So hey y'all for joining, Rachel, Lisbeth, and somebody on Facebook, which I can't tell who it is yet. Maybe it's Veronica Guajardo. And the answer is 6A, an easement appurtenant. When it is recorded, it goes with the land. So the owner of the easement, okay, cannot remove it because the neighbor, okay, has a permanent right of way to use it. Howdy, howdy. Okay, number 7. Express covenants that protect the grantee. Remember your EE and your OR? Express covenants that protect the grantee are found in a what? A, quitclaim deed, B, bargain and sale deed, C, sheriff's deed, or D, warranty deed. Type your name in the chat. Type your answer in the chat box. The answer is 7D. Very good. It is a warranty deed, right? It protects the grantee from any errors that may have occurred that the title company didn't catch when they did a search. Okay, so it's a full warranty, contains covenants that warrant the new owners undisturbed and a clear title. All right, number 8. see it there. Number 8, a certain subdivision has a deed restriction requiring houses to be at least 2,000 square feet. The town, however, has no such restrictions and gives the Smiths a building permit for a little bungalow in the subdivision. If the neighbors object, their best course of action would be to, okay, so remember, we all have to meet the city zoning whenever something is being built. So the city could approve something, but the subdivision may have stronger restrictions. In this case, they have a restriction of minimum 2,000 square foot house. So the best course of action for the HOA owners, okay, the neighborhoods, is to do what? A, attempt to negotiate with the building inspector's office. B, wait until a clear violation has occurred before taking any legal action. C, request a change of the local zoning ordinance. Or D, ask a court to prevent the construction or to order the bungalow be expanded. So when you're not allowed to put a bungalow where the restrictions require 2,000 square foot minimum, what do the neighbor owners have to do? It is not C. No, no, no. They don't want the bungalow there. So they already have tight restrictions. They want that bungalow removed. The answer is D. Ask a court to prevent the construction or to order the bungalow be expanded. So if there isn't an HOA, okay, that has the restrictions written down, recorded, or nobody is enforcing it, then it has to go to court. Because sometimes they could go and tell the owner of that bungalow, but they're like, well, no, the city said it was okay. Well, the city's zoning is not as tight as a subdivision. So a subdivision takes precedence. Means it has higher authority because they had to meet the city zoning already. All right, number 9. A quitclaim deed is often used for transfers of what? A, to clear title defects. B, for arm's length transactions. C, when the grantee requires full assurances. Or D, that must go into effect immediately. So when is a quitclaim deed used? Okay, so in a lot of cases here, you need to know definitions, right? Remember, there's different types of deed. Warranty deed, uh, quitclaim deed, um, a sale deed, a tax sale deed. So that's when it happens in the court. Hey, Mr. Fred, how's it going? Fred was one of my students and he became a realtor and he got his first listing. Yahoo! Awesome. So he passed his exams. He joined with me at eXp Realty and he's got his first listing, which I am reviewing because I'm his sponsor and his mentor. All right, so number 9 is A. It is used to clear title defects. Like let's say name changes, they got married and they need to correct the name because it wasn't filed in the court. Or there's an error in the name, initials are missing, little things like that will be cleared through using a quitclaim deed. Property can also be transferred from one person to another using a quitclaim deed. However, we don't know that there aren't any liens attached to it, any encumbrances. So when people trust each other, they can, of course, an individual can go and search it in the courthouse and see if there's any deeds, any liens recorded, any encumbrances, any easements that are out of line, judgments. And so they can also use a quitclaim deed to transfer the name from one person to the other, the ownership. But typically, they don't want to do it that way because you've got to make sure. Because anything that is attached to that property and it gets transferred without knowing what is attached to it, you now become the owner. So the answer was 9A. Okay, to clear title defects. They could misspell the name, wrong initials. That's the most common. All right, number 10. Encroachments, liens, licenses, and other claims against an owner's full title are known as, I just mentioned it, right? A, encumbrances, B, restrictions, C, easements, or D, mortgages. I didn't show number 9. So type your answer in the chat. Okay, so far I have 10A. Anybody else? No? Okay, I have two 10As. There's a whole bunch of you on here. This is the time to take a chance. Okay, take the opportunity to answer the question. If for some reason you get it wrong, I will explain it. So yes, the answer is 10A, encumbrances. And what are encumbrances? It could be liens, judgments, mechanical liens, right? Child support, loans, different types of mortgages. It won't be credit card charges. Those are not attached to homes. Okay. So the answer is 10A. Very good. All right. What time is it? 6:22. Let's do maybe 5 more. Okay, number 11. The difference between the market value of a property and the sum of the liens against it is called what? So today's market value minus the total of liens on that property is left with what? A, equity, B, leverage, C, cash asset, or D, pledge. Go ahead and type your answer on the chat. So I'll stress it again, vocabulary, vocabulary, vocabulary. Very, very important. It is not B. Take another try, take another attempt. It is not B. The difference between today's market value, if they were to sell it, and whatever they owe is, I'll give Lisbeth a chance. Hi, Elida, thank you for joining us. No, it's equity, 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 equity. That's why people go in and maybe get a home equity loan. So they use the equity on their property, and the lender will loan them a certain amount, and they can use the equity to make home improvements, to buy a car, to buy furniture. That is the portion that they have paid down on their loan. It could have been as a down payment or through the monthly principal payments. And so if the property has appreciated in value because the market has increased, then they have higher equity. So if they bought it for 500,000, and the market value today is 520. Now they got free $20,000 in equity, plus let's say they paid 20,000 down, that would be 40,000, plus however monthly payment they made. Okay, they could go get a loan on that money that they actually own. Okay, on that property. So 11 is equity. So I stress again, vocabulary, vocabulary, vocabulary. Definitions, definitions, definitions. All right, number 12. Moving right. Oh my God. I meant to try 400. Oh, oh gosh. What the heck happened here? Okay, we're on what, number 12, right? Okay, number 12. An acre contains approximately how many? Oh, I won't say uh, the the units, okay? Because then I'll give you the answer. A, 5,270 square yards. B, 40,000 square feet. C, 1/4 square mile. Or D, 43,560 square feet. Many of you know a little, let's see, a little rhyme or a little system, right, on how to remember that. I remember it by 7-Eleven. That's how I remember how many something in an acre. Is it square feet or is it square miles or square yards? Which one is it? So far I've got 12D. Come on, take that chance. 12D, 12D. Awesome. Yes, it is 43,560 square feet, right? I remember it as 7-Eleven. And why do I say 7-Eleven? Okay, because the first two numbers total 7, the last three numbers total 11. Therefore, 7-Eleven. Well, you might ask, well, how do we know if the 4 or the 3 comes first? The larger number is on the outside, the 4 and the 6. I disregard the 0, right? So 7-Eleven, that's how I remember it. Others remember it as 4 realtors going down I-35 at 60 miles an hour. That's a little long for me. I like 7-Eleven. But to each their own. My family likes to go to Vegas and gamble or other casinos, and my dad used to make a lot of money gambling. So 7-Eleven, right? Shooting crap, shooting dice. Okay. In real estate, if you get into investing, sometimes it can be gambling, okay? But it's a more educated gambling risk. It's a risk when we do the research, okay, of it. All right, number 13. The lender's underwriting criteria specify a maximum housing expense to income ratio of 35% of gross monthly income. So housing expense to income ratio. Okay, so they call it debt to income ratio of 35% of the gross monthly income, not yearly, but gross monthly income. If the applicant proves annual earnings of 75,000 in the previous year, and that salary rate is continuing, the maximum monthly PITI would be, well, first you need to know what PITI is, right? Pity. Principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. So what would the monthly principal, interest, taxes, and insurance amount be? If the applicant proves annual earnings of 75,000 and the maximum housing expense to income, okay, so total expense, that includes principal, interest of the loan, property taxes, and homeowners insurance. Okay, so far I've got 13C, so you would have to calculate it, right? And let's see. Yeah, I don't have my editing tools on here that I can write. Okay, so you would be multiplying what? 35%. Well, first, because it's monthly, first you need to divide 75,000 divided by 12. Okay, and then multiply by 0.35, 35%. So the answer is A. Okay, so where are my editing tools? Tools, editing. Well, I don't have the editing tools right up and going. So the answer is A, right? 75,000 divided by 12. Why? Because they say gross monthly income. So the gross is prior to taking any taxes. Then you multiply that by 0.35. And that gives you 2,187 and 50 cents. So that includes what? Principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Great for those of you that calculate it, whether you did it by hand or did it on a calculator. But in the exam, they do allow you to have a calculator, a simple calculator. All right, number 14. Express agency is created by which of the following? A, only by a written listing agreement or buyer representation agreement. B, by the actions and words of the agent. C, by state promulgated contracts. Or D, by specific written or verbal agreements. So express agency. Okay, so it's express is created by which of the following? Only by written listing. Remember to pay attention to little words like only, always, must, never. Okay. If that word is not in every answer, then it's probably either the wrong answer or the right answer. So only by written listing or buyer rep agreement, by the actions and words of the agent, by state promulgated contracts, or by specific written or verbal agreement. Only one risk taker today. And yes, the best answer is D. It is best to have a written express agency, okay, to avoid any types of misunderstandings and for a broker to enforce the payment of an earned fee. However, the law of agency states that even if parties have only verbally expressed a specific agency relationship, okay, like the agent saying, we're going to go house shopping today. We're going to go look at this. We're going to make you buy a house. We're going to get you to buy a house. So the we already expresses some type of verbal agreement between them, to where the client will also feel that and believe that the realtor is their realtor and they're the client. So 14D. Very good. No, it is not, Lisbeth, by the actions and words of the agent. Both have to agree, okay? So it is a two-way street, express agency. It is words that the realtor expresses, okay? However, it is understood, okay, by the client, by the principal, seller, or the buyer. All right, number 15. So this will be our last national question. Title insurance protects the owner or lender against unexpected claims arising from past what? So title insurance protects the owner or lender against unexpected claims arising from past what? A, forged documents, B, zoning ordinances, C, unpaid property taxes, or D, recorded easements. So owners and buyers, okay, the buyer can request a title policy, title insurance. However, there is also a lender title insurance. So there are two different types. One protects the borrower, and the other is protecting the lender and also the owner. So title insurance policy for an owner and title insurance policy for the lender. In most cases, the borrower will ask the seller to pay for the owner title policy. On the lending side, the buyer will pay for the lender title policy unless they ask the seller to contribute to some of their closing costs. So it protects them from forged documents. Okay, A, 15A. Now, title insurance, yes, it could correct errors on recorded easement, but it is to protect them from forged documents. Okay, somebody illegally signing uh, legal documents. So any questions on national? Which national questions here apply to all 50 states. So anyone that did not get to see it, you can come back and review the video because it is recorded in YouTube and it's also on both Facebook group and my business page, YouTube Agent Prep, or I should say Agent Prep. Okay. Okay, what's the Elida? So you put D, recorded easement. No, title insurance protects from forged documents or owners lying about something, okay, that they signed. Because all legal documents for a property, whether it be a lien, a judgment, ownership, type of ownership, they are recorded in the county clerk office, okay, in the county clerk. Yes, you did get it wrong. It is not for recorded easements, okay? Recorded easements, they're already accurate. Unpaid taxes, it's not for that. Unpaid taxes, the title company slash escrow officer will contact the county assessors and get an estimate of what taxes are owed. Let's call it the tax service. And zoning ordinances, well, those are ordinances already established in the city zoning or the county zoning. All right, so that's it for national questions. And we were using this book, even though it says Texas Real Estate Sales Exam, it covers 4 exams of 80 national questions. Exam 1, 2, 3, 4, and it explains the answers. Okay? The last 30 on here are state. And why so little? Because you have less state questions on the exam. At least that's what I'm aware of in Texas. All right, so we are going to this other book. So now we will review Texas state questions. And this is the book that we're using. All right. And again, it has several tests for national. Okay, this book is actually written for every state, as far as I'm aware of. The other book isn't. and I wish they would continue making them, but they don't. So it has a national practice test. It has 8 of them, and it has or 10 of them, and it has 5 state tests. So we will continue with number, I believe it's 21. We ended with 20. Okay. So let's hide the notebook. And I believe we are starting with 21. Let me confirm. Yes, this is practice test number 13, number 21. How I might have put in the notes, I'll correct that later. Okay, Texas State question number 21 on test number 13. Change your thinking caps. All right, so those of you that are on YouTube, hey, thank you for the likes, the thumbs up. I appreciate that. And those of you that are on Facebook, go ahead and click that thumbs up for me. Hey, send me some love. It encourages me to keep creating videos, okay, and doing these classes. All right. A sales agent maintains a website where listing information is protected by a password. In this instance, such listing information is considered what? A, advertising subject to regulation. B, website advertising subject to identification requirements. C, not to be advertising due to the password protection. Or D, website scraping. So a sales agent maintains a website where listing information is protected by a password. In this instance, such listing information is considered what? Type your answer in the chat. So for some reason, the owner may not have wanted them to present certain listing information. So far, I have C, not to be advertised due to the password protection. You know, there are certain things that we keep confidential. However, you know, if the seller wants to sell a property, we want to spread the word all over the place as far as what is allowed to be publicly advertised. So the answer is C, not to be advertising due to the password protection. Okay, so sales agent has a password protected listing information. You know, it could be private agent remarks. It could, that doesn't go to the public, but they have access to it in case they need to confirm on something that the seller requested or didn't want to advertise. So the answer is 1321C. All right, number 22. Which of the following would not be considered advertising? A, text message to a friend to list her property. B, a billboard message to the general public. C, a phone message to a client. Or D, an email to prospective clients. Which of the following would not be considered advertising? Type your answer in the chat. Okay, so far you can't see the answers. Oh, okay, so let me remove myself from there. Oh, wait a minute. We're on number 22. You should be able to see the answer. So the answer is C, a phone message to a client, right? A text message to a friend to list her property. Okay, that's advertisement. She's asking for the listing, right? Or hey, do you want to list your property? A billboard, yes. An email to prospective clients, okay? They're not clients, they're potential, prospective. We're prospecting. That would be an advertisement, but a private message, phone message to a client would not be advertisement. Okay. Right. Number 23. One critical requirement of licensee advertising is that it A, identify the name of the broker, B, identify specific property, C, refrain from using the broker's assumed name if it is not registered, or D, avoid subjective, exaggerated descriptions. So, one critical requirement of licensee advertising is, oops, now you can't see the answers. So, what are we required to do in all of our advertising? Remember, we have to disclose certain things. No, it is not B. Okay. One critical requirement of licensee advertising. So anything that we advertise, or our business card, our name tag, signs, what do we always have to disclose? The broker's name where we hang our license. Unless we are a broker ourselves, then we disclose our name, right? However, if we're a broker, but we're under a certain brokerage, okay, we're not brokering our own transactions. They're being brokered by, any brokerage, in my case, being EXP. So we have to identify, it's a must, identify the name of the broker, okay? Number 14, I'm sorry, number 24. A broker stops using a registered assumed name, like a DBA, right? Doing business as. What must the broker do to comply with law? Remember, these are Texas state questions. A, notify the commission within 15 days. B, notify the commission within 30 days. C, register a new assumed name within 30 days. Or D, run a public notice for 7 days at the broker's expense. So who do we notify, okay, of using or not using a registered assumed name? And how soon must we do it? Okay, so far I have, let's see, AAC. It is not neither of those. It is not A and it is not C. Okay, so it says a broker stops using a registered assumed name. They don't have to register a new assumed name. So it's not that. And the broker is allowed, okay, up to 30 days to notify the commission. A 1324B, 30 days. Okie dokie, number 25. Hmm, well, let's see here. Nope, that won't work. All right, we've got to use it this way. Number 25, internet advertising requires, oops, forgot to show the answer. Internet advertising requires disclosure of the advertiser. How? A, unless the user is employing the medium of social networking. B, on the homepage of the site. C, on each page of the HTML document. Or D, in the URL of the ad. So internet advertising requires disclosure of the advertiser. Where or how? When we're advertising, we go through pages and pages and pages. So in order for someone that's watching our advertisement to know, where does it have to be? It has to be on every page. On each page of the HTML document. HTML is the software language, right? For advertising. For 25C. So advertisers must be identified on each HTML page, where a page is viewable by scrolling through screens at the end of the document, or social networking is not exempt from advertiser identity rules. Okay? So social media is not exempt. Okay, good. All right, number 26. Advertising, including internet advertising, may not mislead the public. In that regard, which of the following would be considered deceptive? Okay, you want to deceive somebody, and we are not to mislead. A website with an excessive number of listings on it. B, an ad stating that the sales agent ran the business like real estate professionals are supposed to. C, a directional sign to an open house that was pointed in the wrong direction. Or D, an ad directed at buyers for exclusive representation that stated the buyer may not have to pay the commission. So which one is considered deceptive? Okay, they're misleading the public. And it is not D. Because if there's an exclusive representation, the realtor, okay, could put in the buyer's rep agreement that the buyer is not going to have to pay a commission. It's going to be charged to the seller, right, by the listing realtor. So the answer here is B. An ad stating that the sales agent ran the business like real estate professionals are supposed to. Well, how are they supposed to? Does the public know that? Ads are deceptive that lead the public to believe a sales agent is running the business. Okay, it's brokers who run the business. A website with excessive listings is simply a big website, right? The fact that there are many listings does not deceive the public. It just lets them know they have a lot of listings, or they have access to the MLS IDX, which shows all listings. An ad regarding compensation is not deceptive if it is true, which in this case could very possibly be true, right? Directional signs are not advertising, they're just directing traffic. That was an honest mistake. It was facing the wrong direction. So 1326 is B. All right, number 27. A residential market has fallen on hard times. To make more deals with buyers, a licensee advertises an offer to rebate portions of their commission to any buyer in order to make prospective purchases more attractive. Given this scenario, which of the following applies? So, because the residential market has fallen in hard times, okay, the buyer agent wants to give deals. The ad must disclose that the rebate is subject to the seller's approval. B, the rebate must be made in cash before closing. C, the ad must identify a dollar amount, a dollar limit of the rebate. Or D, the licensee may not make this offer as rebates are not legal. Okay, so this is making the advertisement, right, to make more deals with buyers. A licensee advertises an offer to rebate portions. Well, remember, who pays the commission? The seller or the buyer? The seller pays the commission, right? For the most part. If it's a for sale by owner, sometimes the buyer may pay it, but in this case, it would be the seller. So the answer is, that is correct. The answer is A. The ad must disclose that the rebate is subject to the seller's approval, okay? Because the seller must approve that. The seller may be the one saying, hey, I want you to offer, $5,000 for anybody bringing an offer by a certain date. Or, um, that's weird. Or seller is willing to offer buyer certain closing costs. All right, number 28. Sorry about that. Oh my gosh, what happened here? Reset. Ah, it's not responding. Come on. Oh, there we go. All right, number 28. A sales agent advertises that he consummates more closings in less time than any other volume agent in the market. The ad lists four such competitors listed in rank order of their prior year's sales volume. Which of the following applies to this advertising? A, the ad is illegal since it rank order direct competitors. B, the ad is illegal unless it discloses what the ranking is based on and the source of the data. The, C, the ad is acceptable provided the parties on the list approve of the ad. Or D, it is deceptive since sales volume is not relevant to an agent's proficiency. So sales agent advertises that he consumes more closings in less time than any other volume agent in the market. The ad lists four such competitors, listing them in a rank order of their prior year sales. So is this first legal or illegal? It is not C. The answer is B. The ad is legal unless it discloses what the ranking is based on and the source of the data. Okay, the ad is illegal. So they would end up having to provide and disclose where they got those numbers. Like the MLS office, okay, they have record of all sales, right? And because it shows every buyer agent that sells a property or lists a property, they have a record on there. And they may end up showing statistically, okay, which agencies have the most sales, but not necessarily which agent, even though that information can be provided by the MLS office to brokers. But we don't typically advertise something like that. So Texas regulations states a license holder may not advertise information regarding service providers that ranks the providers unless the ranking is based on disclosed objective criteria. Okay, thus it is legal if this condition is met. The parties need to not approve the ad. Okay, so D is false, since sales volume does in fact reflect one's proficiency in residential brokerage. So as long as the reference is stated, then it should be fine. Right, number 29. Wonder if I do this. Little show. Wow. Dang. Okay. Man, it only shows, let's see here. It's already, it's not going to show it all. All right. I've got to minimize font. Okay, number 29. Which of the following is true regarding office regulations for brokers? Which of the following is true regarding office regulations for brokers? Remember, these are Texas state questions. A, in-state resident brokers must maintain a fixed office location. B, additional branches need not have an office license provided it is within the same market area. C, non-resident brokers must maintain an in-state office. D, if a broker changes locations, the broker's license transfers to the new office as is. So type your answer in the chat. And a fixed office location, okay, could be an address. Okay, for example, our office is on the cloud, but we do have local addresses. At least one. Like we have a local address for San Antonio, we have one for Austin, but our office is virtual. It's in the cloud. However, every state has to have an address for that particular office. And yes, the answer is A. In-state resident brokers must maintain a fixed office location. Very good. All right, number 30. A buyer signs an offer to purchase a property. At this juncture, the licensee is required to disclose which of the following: A, that the price agreed to was developed without coercion or market collusion. B, that the buyer should get title insurance or a title abstract examination by an attorney. C, that TREC requires the buyer to obtain a property inspection. Or D, that the buyer must be pre-approved to satisfy the contract's financing contingency. So buyer signs an offer to purchase a property. At this juncture, the licensee is required to disclose which of the following: I mean, I would disclose it prior to signing the contract, prior to signing the offer. But here it says a buyer signs an offer to purchase a property. At this point, at this juncture, the licensee is required to disclose which of the following: the answer is not C. TREC does not require what buyers do or not do. Okay. The documents do. The property inspection is the option of the buyer to have one or not to have one. It is not a requirement. Okay. Careful with those words, require. And since the price is agreed between seller and buyer, then it is not, they don't have to disclose, right, that it was done without coercion. And in today's market, we do ask for a pre-approval. However, that is not a must, that the buyer must. Okay, there's another little key word. It's not must. So the answer is B, that the buyer should get the title insurance or a title abstract examination by an attorney. So title companies have an escrow officer and they accept contracts and they do title abstract examinations and provide the title insurance. Only title companies do title abstract examinations and title insurance. Those title companies have an attorney. Okay, those are legal documents. So the attorneys at the title companies are the ones that do the title abstract or the title search, and the title company provides the insurance to protect the borrower from any history, to make sure it's a clear title, okay, is disclosed in the title insurance. There aren't any defects, there aren't any liens, any judgments. It's a fee simple, clear title. So the answer there was B, that the buyer should get title insurance or title abstract by examination by an attorney. Now, if the buyer wanted to take the contract to an attorney and they asked for title insurance, the attorney, who is also an escrow office, they can close transactions, is going to request the title examination from a title company. Their attorney will do it. All right, so the answer here is B. So any questions? That's the end of the state questions. We did 10 national and 10 state. Oh, I should show you the book again for anybody who came in later. So for the state questions, we used this book, okay, which every state, I think, has this book, Okay, and so this was published in the end of 2020. And then for the national questions that applies to all 50 states, we use this book. Okay, why? Because it has 4 exams of 80 questions. The first 80, 1 through 80, are national questions. Okay, so are there any questions? Anybody has some concerns? Anybody taking their exam soon? So remember that, hey, this is Wild Lillie Hendy with YouTube Agent Prep coming to you from San Antonio, Texas. Okay, and I'm streaming to YouTube Live, Facebook group, and also to, which is a private group, right? And I have more resources in there under the guide section. There's 14 different guides, and I don't mean books, okay, but different resources for you to study. And I also have it on the business page. So whenever you visit my YouTube channel, if you're there now, remember to tap that subscribe button, click that little bell so you're the first to get notified, and click that thumb, all right? And like this video if you found it beneficial. And hey, you know what? I love you all for attending. I'm here to help you pass. I want you to pass this exam. In order for you to pass this exam, you've got to know your vocabulary, as you saw during this session, that vocabulary, okay, is very important. When you know the vocabulary, you'll answer a lot of the questions. Not all of them, okay, but a lot of them. You're very welcome. Thank you for attending. So we shall continue on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. I will be traveling, so I may do a pre-recorded one, or I may end up making it live. I'm going to my brother's 80th birthday down in South Texas in the Rio Grande Valley. So, hey guys, I love you. I love doing this. And yes, you definitely have to study the state more, and it's usually a little bit more difficult, and for most people. Okay? Until next time, catch you all later. Watch you in the next video or watch past ones, right? This is session number 14 in a series, okay, of questions. What do I have it? Best Q&A. Okay, so far we have 14. All right, catch you later.